Welcome back once again. We're at London Calling here on the afternoon of June 20th. I have with me here Steve Purdham, who's the CEO of We7, a very new, innovative, ad-funded model for music where fans can get the music for free. He was the original investor in the company and has a hybrid ad-funded music model. But We7 was also co-founded by the ex-Genesis member, frontman Peter Gabriel. So Steve, thank you very much for giving us the time today.
No, my pleasure.
The We7 ad model is different from others in that a 10-second audio advert is attached to the beginning of the track instead of having to consume ads in a visual manner. Now, however, having to hear the ad for a full month every time a user listens to the same track before they can own the track without adverts is quite nasty, don't you think?
Well, people hate ads, but they love free better, and that's the balance. That's the contract that we actually have with the people who download or stream music from the We7 site. I mean, what we're trying to do is actually create a bridge from people who buy or steal. There's no real alternatives in between. So with things like this, you can actually consume the music for free, but you know the artist or the rights owner is going to get paid. So it's an alternative mechanism, and we find that our consumers, because they're in control of the choice, they're quite comfortable because they are saying, well, I can either pay for this or I can have it free. If I have it free and the advertiser pays for it, then at least my band will get paid.
That's very good. Now, what makes We7 ad-funded model different from the other ad-funded models out there? What is the differentiation? What makes it?
I think the biggest one is that, well, the first thing, we start to make it work. We're actually a year old now, but we became visible in that situation. But I think the biggest one is the one that you've already referred to, the idea of the fact that we add an audio add-on to the front of the music. So when you listen to a Ting Tings track, for example, the fact that there's that audio ad there, the fact that you will also see ads, actually pays for it as a result. So it's the combination of audio, pre-roll, and display advertising.
Okay. Now, many ad-supported models shout that their models provide a dynamic defence to the onslaught of P2P, or what is done to the industry. Whilst ad-funded models do provide free access to tracks, is it not almost like another barrier DRM-wise in terms of fans' usage?
No, I mean, we don't use DRM.
Okay.
So as far as we're concerned, the fan is the most important bit. The consumer want simple things. They want to listen to the music they want, when they want it, on whatever device they want to listen to it. Now, the whole world isn't there yet. So we're actually quite, we're actually in the consumer camp here. Now, the music world isn't fully there in accepting that. But they are there in accepting the idea of ad-funded streaming. So at least you can choose the music that you want and have somebody pay for it on your behalf.
Okay, that's great. Now, Sony BMG are now on board with the service.
Yep.
Are there any updates of when the other majors are likely to have their catalogs included? Or?
I would love to give you some hot news. Given the fact that other ad-funded models have actually gone off too early and announced things that didn't have.
Q-Tracks.
Q-Tracks being the example, and Sparrow Frog was another at the very beginning. I am very cautious. All I can say is I'm actually very optimistic that we'll have more announcements in the majors and other things over the coming weeks.
Okay, that's good. So weeks. So keep your ears to the ground, everyone. Now, I know We7 have been looking at different music recommendation technologies and incorporating those into their offerings. Are there any new developments you can mention in relation to this? Have you found a partner as far as music recommendation engines are concerned?
We've actually spent a lot of time looking at recommendation, and in interest, Peter Gabriel, who is actually one of our founders, is also an investor in something called The Filter, which is a fabulous recommendation engine. So no surprises that we've actually spent a lot of time looking at how The Filter works. But actually, if you take a step back, recommendation comes in multiple forms. You want recommendations which are from the fact that if you like David Bowie and Gene Genie, and your library had that and actually had Elton John, it might actually recommend that this is what the consensus of opinion is for that. You also might want recommendations from people. This is Peter Gabriel's top 10. This is whatever may be from that side. So we're looking at those type of areas. And then there's types of music, like the Pandora type of scenario. If you analyse the actual physical entities and the parameters of the music, can you actually then analyze other pieces of music? Because one of the problems with, say, recommendations from Filter is if it's new music, it may not be in anybody's catalogue that they can actually make a recommendation for.
No, I'm quite familiar with that. I used to work I tried to sell you guys a different recommendation engine with Gareth. But where do you see ad-funded models in the future as far as, say, a percentage of overall digital income derived from music is concerned? I mean, on a sort of global basis, what sort of part or slice of the pie do you think the ad-funded models will be providing to the overall sale of recorded music?
Oh, I would love to say it's 1%, 10%.
Can you hazard even just a rough guess? You wouldn't
No, I can't. Although what I can say is if you look at the UK market for online advertising, it's about, this year it'll be about £2.5 billion, growing to about £3.4 billion. Now half of that is search. That's what you see on Google and all the other stuff. But actually, a third of it is actually display, the type of things that we have, and so there's a massive healthiness which actually could contribute significantly to the music world. What the music world has to be very careful of, if they don't start adopting things more faster than they have been, then somebody else will take that slice of the pie.
Okay. And are there any plans to possibly provide a mobile offering and mobile access to the We7 service?
Probably, but I'm a technologist, I build technology companies, and I'm a great believer in convergence. And in real terms, to the consumer, eventually when you get the right bandwidths, when you get the right memory on the phones, there will be no difference between the mobile and the internet. It will just be the internet.
True, but WAP at the moment is quite a consumer-friendly experience because it's so slow.
We would never use WAP. I mean, it's a case of, as I say, before we would get out into the market, the WAP world will have actually moved more into, the iPhone's a good example. It's a fully fledged environment that actually you get on your PC as much as you would actually get on your phone.
Okay. Now, has We7 also been looking at some of the emerging markets, because that's where a lot of the growth is happening in a digital sense, whether it be via mobile, and a lot of the consumers' first experience of the internet is mobile. Is there any plans in the future to look at some of those emerging markets as far as rolling out the We7 service?
I mean, interesting. I mean, whether the way your questions have gone, I think you've got a webcam in our office looking at some of these things.
No.
Because the answer is yes. But I mean, before we do that, actually, I want to see the model start to work here in the UK. But it was interesting the way you used the idea of emerging markets, because the challenges that We7 and many businesses actually have is actually the historical structures of the music industry in the Western world, America, Europe, UK. However, when you go into Asia, India, China, South America, for example, there's very little music actually generating revenues anyhow. So looking for new models like We7, looking for elements where the structures aren't as rigid could be a great opportunity. So where we go next, I don't know. But once we prove the model here, then somewhere like the emerging markets would actually, funny enough, make more sense than actually potentially trying to step into America or somewhere like that.
Okay, that's very good. We'd like to thank you very much for your time today.
My pleasure.
And we're going to keep our ears to the ground for the next coming weeks. Have a great London calling.
Thank you very much.